The whiskey category globally is massive. It's not, and yes, you can see, oh, they're shrinking. So is the wine. Everything's shrinking because you have a lot of the current population of the world. You have aging, and then you have a big young population. That young population hasn't really developed into the alcohol sector yet.
Definitely.
When you start looking at the potential markets, and you take India, for example, that surpassed last year China in population,
Massive whiskey
there's a
market.
growing demographic there that's going to have more money. Guess what? They're also a whiskey drinking culture. What are they drinking? They're drinking Indian whiskey, right? Majority. And then they're drinking Scotch and Irish. What American whiskey are they drinking? The potential there. So when you look at American whiskey, obviously now has a great opportunity because everything else is being taxed to death to get in America. So look, domestically, it's great. But internationally, there's a huge opportunity because it really hasn't expanded as much as it can. So I see there's a huge opportunity there. I do also think that the pricing of alcohol, the pricing, this goes back to my bulk days. When you look at barrel costs, so everybody, once the price goes up, everybody puts their prices up. People are buying it, they go nuts. The reality is it's not sustainable. This happened in the bulk wine business. It happens. It's cyclical, where you have demand. Demand exceeds production. Oh, the prices go up. Everybody raises their prices, even if it's not in markets that there's no surplus. So when the market finds its floor, you find then the floor, and then you find what makes it sustainable for the people who actually make it. So in the wine case, it's growers. You can't drop below a price to make it profitable for a grower. There's no point. They're not going to keep growing, right? So the same with barrels. You shouldn't have to lay down barrels and it's going to cost you X when the reality is the grains don't cost that much. The barrel aging doesn't cost that much. So what is your set point? And it went crazy and now it's coming back down, and it'll go too low because they want to slow down, and then they'll find it's settle. I think if the US wants to be competitive in the market and go, then the bigger players need to play in that game. And I do see huge opportunity because I look at it like most people, and I'll say outside of the US especially, were exposed to whiskey, and it was Scotch whiskey. And so if you take outside of the US, the consumption has either been Irish or Scotch. The American whiskey category, and that was minimal, literally minimal, like less, single digit percentages. That opportunity is huge because those consumers are going to start drinking a single malt from Scotland. And then they're going to develop, and they're going to be like, oh, what else is there? And through social media, again, this is where we rock. What else is there? And they go and they're like American whiskey, and then they try it. But they're not going to necessarily go to the American whiskeys that we grew up knowing. They're going to go to the ones that they see are more visible. And the visibility is not because you paid tons of marketing dollars and you're on every shelf, because a lot of this new demographic doesn't buy off the shelf. So when we're seeing, in Europe, especially, we launched online last fall. We sold a ton, of course. We had the fan base, and we did it. And whiskey buyers people are buying online, right? So as the market shifts and it's no longer retail based, it's no longer, people are buying through platforms like Amazon or GoPuff or whatever, you start marketing in that, but they want to see what's the connectivity, who's behind it, what is it, what's the story? And look at the brands that are on social media. There's always a character attached to it. There's always something to connect to the consumer, right? Especially the brands that have been launched in the last 5 years.
Yeah. You
So I
guys are
think, yeah, we still have a lot of learning to do on the international side, though. I'm really excited because as a bourbon brand, as an American whiskey brand, we have two very recognizable faces with really good product, and we have proof that it works. People like it. So we have a history now. And so when you're going on the international stage, it's hard for them to say no because they're looking, they're like, oh, well, this is legitimate. This is authentic. Ian was so well received in Germany because they looked at it and said, wait a second, he's been doing this for 5 years. This isn't new. This isn't, hey, slap my name on something and try and sell it in Europe. This is like he's been doing it. Now he's coming and selling bottle by bottle on his own. That speaks volumes to the consumer.